Welcome back to the podcast. We age graceful, ladies. We got a new space in the corner. For those of you who are watching via YouTube, I kind of like switched up my little location on where I record my podcast because I wanted to have something a little bit more brighter. I will be kind of sprucing this little area up to kind of make it a little bit more warm. But right now we do have a lovely candle here with us. This is from iamKeliB, and iamKeliB has definitely hooked your girl up with the like cute little coupon code, so you can definitely get you some good old candles. iamKeliB candles, they smell good. In addition to that, it's a lot. It's a lot of candle. So I will definitely have a coupon code, a link for you. I'll leave everything in the show notes and description so you can go ahead and, check it out for yourself and, get some Mickey candles. But today I want to talk about mindfulness practices for us women over 40. Ladies, we really go through a lot. And mindfulness is really close to me because I had to learn how to be mindful, how to be present. Not just mindful to others, but mindful to myself, if that makes any sense. I just want to pretty much share with you, why mindfulness is important to us women over 40, the importance of reducing stress, improving our mental clarity, and just finding balance. I took some really good notes because I really want to make sure that I cover everything I need to cover in regards to being mindful. Okay, and we're gonna take it gentle. We're gonna take it one step at a time. We're not gonna dive deep in too far because I definitely want to cover mindfulness in more episodes to come. The last episode we talked about reinventing ourselves. 5 good tips, and I'm gonna get more into that as well because I just don't want to talk about reinventing ourselves. On the outer. I really want to get more on the inside because sometimes we think like buying a new wardrobe or getting our hair done in a different way, cutting our hair, that's what it is. But it's really more than that. It's all what you pour on the inside and what exudes, on the outside. So we're going to get into all of that, So like I said, today's episode, we're going to focus on mindfulness practices for us women over 40. And what I first want to get into this, the importance of mindfulness. We go through so much. Like I said, we can go through career changes, which I have been through several. I know you have as well. And even if it's you at the same job, organization, company, corporation, you may have changed positions and so forth and so on. So changing career transitions, relationship shifts, hey, sometimes we may have the same friends we had from elementary to middle school to high school to young adult to midlife. You change, so not only those relationships, they can be romantic relationships. It can just be relationships, even if you're married, things do change. People go through divorces, people reconcile, whatever the case may be. We just have to know how to cope and how to stay present, all of that. Because sometimes when you go through all those different things, it can definitely take you through a whirlwind. Trust me, I know. Again, I've never been married, never been divorced, so I can't speak on that. But I can empathize, if that makes any sense as well. I can definitely empathize. We go through health changes. Hey, I went through a hysterectomy. That alone is a lot. I mean, going through menopause is a lot. I mean, I'm not there yet, but my body is definitely going through changes if it's perimenopause and things like that. But going through a hysterectomy is a whole nother beast because I think it's a double dose on menopause. And I'm not, taking away from menopause because we all go through it, even if you have a hysterectomy and you have like a total hysterectomy, or they say radical these days, you're taking your ovaries out. As soon as you get off that table and you wake up, you are in full blown menopause. You're going to have to find you a patch or something. But yeah, it's so funny. I got down here menopause, going through menopause. I got that down here. But I just want us to get into how mindfulness can just help us reconnect with ourselves. Reconnect with ourselves where we could pretty much remember who we are. We can get so caught up in what the world has going on and what our everyday looks like. We forget about ourselves. Prime example, wake up in the morning. We just get up. I know me, I'm gonna be honest, I'll just get up, jump in the shower, put on whatever I gotta put on. If I'm working from home, if I gotta go in the office, and then I'm busing traffic. If I gotta take my daughter to school, if she missed the bus, or just wanted me to drive her or something like that, we hightailing it to where we got to go. Then I'm hightailing it to the job, and we just going through the motions. We never sit. I'm not saying never, but sometimes we don't just stop and just say, you know what, hold on. Before I give the world what I gotta give it, how about I give myself what I need to give it? Easier said than done. I'm sitting here giving y'all the word. But like I said, going through all of that, being mindful, it helps us improve our focus, because now we know we got to deal with life. But sometimes when we don't focus on ourselves, that's how stress comes. Depression, anxiety, overwhelmed, weight gain, all the different things. We don't even realize sometimes we could be so stressed out, not knowing what it is, because it's just so normal to us that we're going through what we're going through. We've made it a normal piece of our life, our day, that it's tearing us up so hard inside. Now we got high blood pressure, cholesterol done spiked. You know what I mean? We're trying to eat as healthy as we possibly can, because we live in this fast life. We can't slow down a little so we can cook a little bit at home. We're trying to go through everybody drive through. I've been there, and I've told you, if you follow me on my main channel, I have definitely mentioned about how life took a toll on me. And at one point, it was me against the drive-through or me against the restaurant. And just because I might have went to a restaurant where I can sit down and I can have a good meal, prime example, if it was Cheesecake Factory, if it was going to eat like at Ruth Chris, or going to eat at a Bonefish, Capital Grill, and you feel like, oh, I'm eating, I'm having a salad and I might be eating some salmon or some chicken or whatever. They still have to cook what they have to cook with to make the food. The same way how we would do it at home, or folks would do it at the fast food restaurant, if it's like the McDonald's or the Wendy's or whatever the case may be. They have to use what they have to use to preserve it. You know what I mean? And that takes a toll, the way we cook at home to the way they cook outside. You know what I mean? That's another day on the story, right? But what else do I have here? So to kind of piggyback on, managing our anxiety and our stress levels, just overall improving our wellness, balancing our emotional wellness and all the things, mindfulness is an overall wellness. I put that in with health and wellness. And before I wouldn't have, but I had to come to realize, if I don't take care of myself, who will? Who will? I sit back and I look at when you get so far gone and not caring for yourself, and then before you know it, you're at the doctor's and your doctor's prescribing you a pill because you didn't take care of yourself. And not that you didn't take care of yourself intentionally. Sometimes it'd be by default. Sometimes you're dealing with family issues. You're dealing with just life. Wondering if you can get a raise because you need more money. Trying to get a promotion. Dealing with political issues in the world. Right now we're caught in, an election coming up soon. Less than 40 days? We're going to be voting. That takes a toll on people, because they're thinking about how the world's going to affect them, their children, all different things, but sometimes you got to bring it back and control what you can and not what you can't. Like we can control our health. We can't control the world. We can do our part, which is vote, but we can't control everything else. You find somebody who aligns with what you feel is right, And hopefully, you know, it works out for you, you know, in your viewing. And if it don't, if it's something that you did not vote for, again, you can still vote for the people that really make the decisions. I hate getting political, but I just dove right in. It was like I saw the bait and I ran with it. You know, this is my opinion. I feel like we get so caught up in the presidential race and things like that, which is, you know, important, very important. But what I feel is really important when we do them small votes, them people that really don't go out for, like the legislative, the Senate, the House, you know, your local representatives. Those are the important elections that people say they don't really go out for. Those are the ones you are supposed to go out for, because legislation, the Constitution, how it's made up, that's who makes the world go round. The president doesn't. The president is like the representative. It's like the principal of the school, the boss, all the different things. You know, let's look into it. Look into it. You know, but those things can definitely, you know, get you out of whack. Moving on. What is some daily practices that we can do to help us be mindful? Okay, and how can we incorporate mindfulness in like our this daily in general? You can incorporate mindfulness like in your morning routine. You can incorporate in your evening routine, nighttime routine. You can incorporate. I wrote some things down here because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. It's just simple things that you can do to incorporate. You know, you can do like breathing techniques and meditation. Those things reduce stress, believe it or not. Like breathing in and breathing throughout your nose, breathing in through your mouth, breathing through your nose. Really, really helpful. And you may sit and think, oh God, that's so tedious. Let me tell you something. You will definitely feel good. Over time, you will definitely feel good. Now, I learned that in therapy. Y'all, therapy, breathing techniques, doing body scans. Body scans is like, to me, it's two ways. You could do body scans during meditation, and you can do body scans when things happen to you. So if you're being triggered, or if something happened and you feel the pain, where is it hitting you at? Is it hitting you in your head? Is it hitting you in your stomach? Is it hitting you in your knees, your arms, something like that? I know my recent reaction to where when I was really, really upset, I felt it in my arms. I was like, oh, my arms are like really, really tense right now. I felt myself like, you know, getting real tense. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far into whole body scan, but I just know that I paid attention to where it was and how I felt at the time. So, yeah, you know, understand where things are tensed up and how you can release it. Gratitude journaling. That's something that you can definitely put into your daily routine. Journaling. You know, it could be done once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, however you choose. For me, I used to journal. I don't journal anymore. I need to get back into it. I think for me, why I stopped, I had so much to say and so much to get off of, get out of my head. If that made any sense. And I felt like I was rambling so much in my head or my mind. I was rambling so much in my mind that it was going faster than I can write. And I started typing. And I couldn't type faster than I can think. So I just stopped. So now what I do is I just kind of take a step back and I just pretty much like meditate. But you still have to get it out. You have to get it out. And I recently, my last therapy session, I did it in bullet points. So I summarized it, if you will. Instead of me writing it out, like writing how I talk, I just pretty much did bullet points. Enough for me to remember that particular moment, and I was able to recite it. So I did that. The next one is mindful walking. Walking helps a lot. You know, easier said than done. I have a treadmill in my home, and I also walk around my neighborhood. My neighborhood is really, really good for walking. I mean, everyone walks in my neighborhood. You don't need a walking buddy because everybody walks. I mean, people do walk together, like husbands and wives and stuff like that. They walk together, or you see like the grandparents or something, or group walking, and maybe neighbors are walking. But for the most part, if you're walking by yourself, throwing their hands up. They know your neighbors or whatever. That's what I like about my community. They just acknowledge you or whatever. Walking is good. It doesn't have to be a long period. It can be like 5 to 10 minutes. You just like, nowadays I know like these new developments, especially down here in the South, they're not putting mailboxes in front of the homes anymore. What they're doing is they're like putting mailboxes in like in a central area where people like a drive up, it's like a little drive up section, and you can go get your mail or whatnot. And if you don't want the mail, you got to throw the mail in the garbage. It's like a little thing. But that's how mine is, I should say, and how I have been seeing in other areas. And you could walk to your mailbox, you could walk to the front of your subdivision, or you could just walk if you have a really big subdivision, or if you just live in an apartment complex, or if you live in a neighborhood, like if you're saying you're in New York, like a neighborhood where I used to live at, you just walk around your whole entire block. A block is normally a square, so you could just walk from wherever you live at and just walk it around and bring it back around. Release some stress, just giving some tips. So, overcoming common mindfulness challenges. Let's say it right, Kay. Let's say it right. Okay. For me, racing thoughts. I know you probably have racing thoughts too. Sometimes you can get so caught up in your mind, so get caught up in, my prime example, you could be trying to meditate. You're trying to, get in your zone, and you're trying to pull it in. And you want to get to that point where you have to think like, where you're tapped in. You're thinking about the grocery list, that bill you got to pay, your child's senior dues. I'm telling on myself right now because my daughter's a senior in high school, my youngest daughter. So right now I'm thinking about senior dues. And I when I try to meditate, get into my zone, sometimes I can't do it. But the fact that you put yourself in that position, get in position, meditate however you choose, if you're doing the floor, on your bed, in a chair, get it together. You're going to think about so many different things. Things you haven't even thought about in a long time. I had a girlfriend reach out to me like maybe 3 weeks ago. And she said, hey, how so-and-so was doing? I thought about them during my meditation. I said, I have no idea. But it just made me think about racing thoughts. And that was a racing thought for her. Because she's meditating, she's trying to get into herself and trying to clear her mind. But she's thinking about somebody that she ain't even seen in a long time or even heard from, or might haven't even mentioned her name before. So she's like, wow, I wonder how she's doing. And the crazy part about it, the woman is doing good. Because I haven't even heard from her myself. I haven't even thought about her myself. I happened to see her post on Facebook. And she just was like throwing up something crazy like, hey, I'm still here. And they were like, you know what? We're all going through things. And we're all just, living our own lives, get into our own world. And I was like, you know what? Even though we're not with each other, everybody is subconsciously tapping in when they need to tap in. If that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm reaching maybe. But racing thoughts and this feeling like mindfulness doesn't work. You ever felt like you're doing something, trying to work on yourself, being present, just trying to get everything where you think it needs to be, and you feel like nothing's just working for you? It takes time. It takes time. And I just did a video on this makeup look, for those of you who are watching on YouTube. And I was just talking about how I feel like, I'm finally getting into a good spot. Now, granted, these good spots come and go. And that's a part of life. You can be in an overall good spot, but then you can have pockets of your life where you feel like you're going in and out. Like, how was I able to be so good right here, and all of a sudden now I'm back over here? That's a part of being mindful, having mindfulness. You're mindful of, hey, I'm doing good, I'm feeling good, I've been practicing what I said I was going to do, everything's good. And once you kind of slack, you back into them thoughts again. So you got to keep it going. It's something that you just can't stop doing. And even when you say you're going to block out the whole world, guess what? It comes right back. So just as I mentioned, about, the thoughts and have to keep it going, be patient with yourself. Don't feel like, you have to have everything together in one shot. Be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be gentle with yourself, and you have to give yourself grace, because this is a process. this is a process, and it's easier said than done. Trust me. I deal with it every day, every week, every month. I'm always going through it. And it's not like I'm in a bad space, nothing like that. You just go through it. You know what I mean? But it's understanding where you are, understand how to fix it, and understand that it's not a bad thing. And you're gonna get through it. You're gonna get through it. And also remember, in addition to being patient with yourself, that mindfulness can help you manage your emotions during midlife. We go through so much, so much. I mean, think about it. We're in midlife right now, and we might be taking care of parents, again, jobs, taking care of children, um, you know, dealing with grandparents if we're fortunate enough. So many different things. So many different things. So just use it to help you cope, and don't use it as a tool to weaponize yourself. You know, practice it. Keep yourself grounded. Always be gentle, always have grace, and always know that you're going to get through whatever you're going through. So, be mindful. So, how can you integrate mindfulness? I'm going to give you some little tips, and I mean, there's no right and there's no wrong way. It's all about finding ways to just incorporate it, you know, in your daily life practices and stuff like that. Sometimes we need to do things to kind of bring us back. I'm going to tell you one thing that I used to do that I had to stop doing. And I wrote something down here. I was going to tell you, it was drinking coffee. You know, drinking coffee was a way for me to like sit down with myself, sip, and just enjoy. But on the flip side, the coffee was tearing me up because it was like raising the caffeine, and me not even knowing, making my pressure high. I didn't know I was caffeine sensitive. And not only that, I mean, I had things going on in my life too. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say coffee was like the culprit. You know, I had things going on that was elevating my stress levels, that was, you know, poking at me, in addition to how I was eating and intaking things. So, I had to stop. You know, have I incorporated slowly? You know, I do have a taste for it every now and then. I do. But when you don't have something for a long time, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Until you actually like deal with it again, and you're like, oh wait, hold on. You know, that's in dating. That's in trying to, you know, stop eating a particular food. You know, anything that you do, you know, you try to get rid of something, or you try to decenter it, and before you know it, you give it a second chance, a second look. You're like, and you know it ain't good for you. You know it ain't good for you. But what are some ways into combining mindfulness into your life and any type self-care things? I wrote down a few things here that I want to share. I have your self-care routines. You can, you know, incorporate the things that I told you before. If it was journaling, if it was meditation, if it was going for a walk, you know, however your self-care routine may look to you. You may do it once a week. You may do it every morning. You may do it every night. Incorporate something. You know, your skincare routine. Sometimes, you know, putting on a mask. You sitting down, steaming your face. You have to sit there for that. So some people may put their sheet mask on. They may put a face mask on, walk around the house doing laundry, so forth and so on. But sometimes, instead of us sitting back trying to multitask so much, maybe we should sit back and just kind of like take that moment for ourselves. Like I said before we start that day or start that next thing, find ways to pour into yourself. And that's just being mindful, because you need to have that moment for yourself. Self-care, ladies, self-care. I'm practicing it too. I'm practicing same way how I'm gonna whip on you, I'm gonna whip on myself. You know. So your skincare routines, your morning routines, even if it's something simple, as I said before, making coffee and then sipping, you can make you some tea. It could be decaf on both ends, if it's coffee or if it's tea, or if it's a smoothie, whatever it is, you know. Just take that moment and just sit back, and you can journal whatever. It's just, we have to do it for ourselves. We have to, because you don't want to get to a point in your life where you're feeling like, damn, I should have took some time for myself. Now, we don't regret anything because they're all life lessons, but you have to pour into yourself. You have to. We could sit on the couch, watch a movie, have some alone time, but sometimes sitting back, literally intentionally pouring into yourself, it hit different. It hit different from having some alone time. I'm telling you, we got to do it. We have to do it. So in saying all of that, I hope I enlightened you some way, somehow. And I just kind of want to recap on, different things, on the practices that we talked about in regards to mindfulness. Let's kind of go back. Let me roll back here a little bit. I got my little Google Doc sheet here. Just want to, recap, why mindfulness is important for us women in our midlife, women over 40. The practice that we can incorporate, the challenge that we may have during this, like racing thoughts and things like that, and just how can we integrate it? Just taking that time to pour into ourselves and be present. I want us to have a stress-free life. I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes when you actually put your best foot forward for yourself, you'd be surprised at how good you feel and how better you look to someone else on the outside. But you look for yourself. Forget about the outside, but for yourself. Let me tell you something. I know for a fact I'm doing myself some justice. So I want to share with you the things that I'm doing so you can do the same for yourself. So in saying that, I hope you enjoyed. I want you ladies to join the Facebook community if you're on Facebook. If not, we are on Instagram. We age Graceful on all platforms. And all streaming sites, again, Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, all the things. And if you just want to watch and you want to hang out, you're a YouTube girly, we will have the video podcast for you. And I hope you just hang out and talk to your girl. So I'll catch you in the next episode, and I want to say thank you and see you in the next one. Bye.